Well, that's my name. And this is a stone lithograph at the stone at Slaughterhaus. And I think I was back at college, wasn't I? Doing some screen printing, which I haven't done ever since. But I've always had an interest in printing. And also I do a lot of drawing as well. And one of the questions was, sorry, Michelle, sort of jumping to your question, was what about main inspiration? So
I've got it now.
Really difficult to think about what my inspirations were. So I sort of looked back and I thought Aubrey Breach was a real influence when I was younger, because I absolutely just loved the black and white and his compositions, which are so dramatic. So that's always been an incredible influence. And I'm really sorry that I missed the exhibition that was on in London recently. Another influence is Cathy Colvitz, who I think is possibly one of the most emotional drawers and artists imaginable. And we went to Berlin and we went to her house and saw all her work. And a lot of it was on the stones. So she was really what influenced me to try and find out how to do stone lithography, which I was very glad, and I found Slaughterhaus could try and teach me. And I just love it. It's like with Aubrey, incredibly dark areas against incredible light areas. And another influence has always been Miro, because of his colours, because of his symbols, and because they're all based on real things, but they don't look real. This one is the Woman and Two Birds in a Landscape, and I find he's an artist who makes you think. He challenges your perception of everyday things. Oh, now this is, I don't know if anybody's been to Norfolk, but this is where we live, which is a big influence on what I do, because we do live in a wonderful countryside, and this priory here, I'm pointing. It's just over there. It's at the back of us, and so it does influence me. So I pop out and draw it, and then come back and paint it. This is one of the paintings that I did of it. And then I also did an etching of it, which I think is a lovely process, but difficult. And this was it was that shape, and I do like, you can get details in it. And I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking it should be blacker and it should be lighter. I do a lot of life drawing. I've done life drawing for a long time, and these are some of my lockdown ones. I found even that during lockdown, I don't know if you know London Drawing Organisation, they did some most amazing life models, and these are all from different sessions of life drawing. I often come down to London to the London drawing sessions, because I do theatrical sessions with brilliant models. And I organise life drawing in Castleacre, because if I didn't organise them, I'd have to keep on travelling. So I thought I'd organise them at home and have people travel to Castleacre instead. So these particular examples, there's pastel and charcoal, and the blue one in the corner. I'm assuming you see the same screen as me. The yes. Blue one. Yep. The blue one is in the bottom right-hand corner. That's oil paint, and that's oil on paper. Quite a runny consistency. So I do a lot of life drawing, and I also, what have I got next? These are, on the left-hand side, are cut-up life drawings. They've just cut some samples of random drawings from different models that I cut up to make one picture, and then I tried to transfer it to stone when I was on one of my visits at Slaughterhaus. And that's the stones in the middle, and one of the better pulls is on the right hand side. So that's what I was trying to do, and trying to learn to get the blacks and the whites and the lights and the shades from a life drawing. So that's always an influence. Another influence I want to mention that I do like is William Hayter. I think he was born in the 1900s and died in the 1980s. But he did a lot of drawing, and he was with the Atelier 17 in Paris and then New York. But he did use lines and colours in the most amazing ways. So to the next one. Over the years, I've tried different sorts of printing. And this is a Japanese wood block, which I did on, it's on several layers of ply. I found that quite a difficult process. Needed a lot of patience, but and you could use nice colours with it. Not quite as neat as any Japanese one, but it was great fun to do. And this is a monoprint. This I did at a live drawing session, and it was a model who had the most incredible long hair. She was literally pulling her hair from her head and stretching at the same time. So it's just a quick working with, I forget, I think it was just a plain ink on an acrylic sheet, just putting it on and rubbing it out, which is very exciting. I think with doing monoprints like that at live drawing sessions, you might have one come out of the whole day, which is worthwhile. Do interrupt if you like. Oh, this is a lino cut. Yeah, lino cuts are fun. I don't smoke anymore, but people do. And this was a guy who just was sitting on a train and, waiting at a train station rather, and smoking. So I always carry a sketchbook around with me, and just the simple faces are always interesting. And I'm going through examples of types of printing that I've done in the past, which I've enjoyed doing, but the stone lithographs was what I really wanted to do. And these are dancers. I go to Norwich Theatre Royal to the ballet rehearsals when the companies come into town, and they let me sit in rehearsals and just draw. And these ones I did as a follow-up from a lot of sketchings. And this is just a face. This is monotype face. I also go to our local theatre. Sorry, I was just getting some feedback there. I go to our local theatre also to draw at rehearsals. And I've had a couple of solo exhibitions which have been based on rehearsals and performances at the Westacre Theatre. And I should have been there this month with another exhibition based on this year's productions, but that hasn't happened. So I'll build up a few prints to go, which I think I'll be showing later. But this is a face. I always come back to, I think, looking back at my work, there's a lot of bodies, there's a lot of faces, a lot of movement as well. That's another face. Now this is a monotype mixed media, which came out of Eleanor's lockdown sessions, which made me feel in contact with with Slaughterhaus. So this is just a happy face, a happy big face. I think it could be me. And this was just experimenting with lots of just different textures and colours, and a bit of movement, and a bit of collage there as well. So I do like doing collage too. Now this is a sculpture that I had at Ravingham Sculpture Park, which is in Norfolk, and I worked on this during lockdown, and it was exhibited. The sculpture park was in August. It was open for the whole of August, which is quite a relief to be able to get out in the fresh air. But doing this big bird sculpture was an influence, and from this I did bird print. So this is one of my bird prints. I actually got quite carried away. I think this is one of the joys of printing, that once you start, you really don't know, unless you're terribly organised, about how you're going to finish. So I did a series of birds in different situations, different colours, doing different things. A couple of these got little bits of collage on them, and some are happy, some are sad, and some are just plodding along. And this is the ones that are in the exhibition Open Studios at Slaughterhaus at the moment. And these are coming from theatre productions where I sit at rehearsals. And this is monoprints. They're quite small, about that size. I don't know how scale relates across the screen. And these are dancers.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? About what was there just now? It reminded me the previous image before reminded me of this one of Kathy Kollwitz, and because of this thing of anguish and feeling, because to me it's the face, although obviously it could easily be a landscape and it may well be a bird, but it seems very sad and anguished to me.
Well, I'm very honoured to be compared to Kathy Kollwitz. No, thank you. But it's interesting that you can see a face there. Yes.
Yeah. The eyes, the right eye and the nose on the right,
Yeah. Yes.
The cheek. You see below the eye.
I can. Yes. So this is ambiguous, and it's a print that's come out with different interpretations. Tangos. Back to dancing. And again, this is a monotype, just experimenting with colours and shapes.
Is that done in situ or once you're home?
I did this one when I was home.
Right.
Yes. If I'm sitting in rehearsals, I'm in the seats. I don't have access to a table or any printing things, so I have to do these from sketches when I get home.
Right. Okay.
And this was of chorus. Is it a different production?
It's nice.
They're fun. They're such fun to do.
Yeah.
What are your drawings like, Helen? Oh, sorry, I'm muted. What are your drawings like that lead to a print like that? Then, do they have the figures moving in them, or are you remembering that and then drawing what you're remembering rather than what you drew?
No. I do tend to have sort of figures because when you go to rehearsals, I usually go to them over several for the length of the rehearsals before the first night, so that they do repeat themselves. So the chorus I would see them every time I go if they're doing that particular scene. So you get an idea and you can build up a sketch from seeing it several times, and then just trying to get it on a smaller scale. I do tend to draw quite large when I'm there. So I've got a big freedom of movement. Oh, that's it.
That's it.
You.
I've got to leave because I've got to cook stuff for someone. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lucy, for listening.
I'm sorry I can't stay for the discussion, but
Thanks, Lucy.
Bye, Lucy.
bye.
So,
Thank you. Bye. Shall I go back?
Mm,
great.
Yeah.
so lovely.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. So, just to come back to the questions, which you did answer in some parts, Helen. So you talked about your background and how you you didn't really say how you became an artist printmaker. One of our questions was how you got to becoming a printmaker or an artist. In fact, what did you? You're at art school or?
No, I went to School of Architecture, but I always drew.
Right.
And I've drawn. I literally very old-fashioned. If I draw a plan, I still draw. I see my drawing board behind me.
Yeah.
Go that way.
Yeah.
I still draw old-fashioned, styly architectural drawings.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always drawn. I've been self-employed for 30 odd years now.
Okay.
Drawing.
Okay. So you're working as an architect as well? You mean?
Yes, I'm actually a chartered designer rather than an architect.
Okay. That's interesting.
Helen, what sort of scale is this lovely chorus line?
It's quite small.
Yes.
I think it's 13 by 18.
That's Claire.
Claire's got the list.
Claire has some.
Centimetres or inches?
Centimetres.
Centimetres, thank you.
They're not big. They're quite small.
Yeah.
That fits in
I
A5.
think you've been enlarging enormously as a totality or part of them.
Sorry, Anne, I didn't quite catch that.
Do you ever think about enlarging them as a total image or as part of them, if that's possible?
Yes, I think I'd like to do them bigger. I do them small at the moment because I'm just working on small acrylic sheets usually for the monoprints. So what I need are bigger sheets to work on, and then I would, probably print bigger. So yes, I would like to try do
That would certainly be possible,
prints.
wouldn't it? Because you're using techniques which are very hand printed, which I like. I think they're really interesting.
Yes.
One of the things I was thinking was it'd be really nice to use some of those printing techniques into a litho stone so that you made permanent marks, but which were printed in this. You're making these composites, aren't you, of printed marks, which are
yes, that's
are nice, I think.
and quite exciting to put them all together because you can't be totally prescriptive about what you're doing.
Mm. Mm.
Is Helen saying she'd like a bigger studio?
Exactly. We all would. So one of our questions then, which again I think you've answered partly, but you might just want to think about it again. What are your main inspirations, Helen, and how have they influenced your work? So you talked about the landscape close to where you live, and obviously these visits to the theatre and the rehearsals. I think that's really interesting. What would you say were the sort of key things that you're taking from those things that you're looking at then? What is it that really interests you, do you think?
I think it's because I've always done, I've always liked the discipline of doing life drawing. So I think life and people always end up coming into everything.
Mm.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest influences.
Yeah. That's interesting as an architect, isn't it? Because it's about people inhabiting spaces, isn't it? That's sort of.
Oh, well, I was in totally the wrong profession.
Yeah. Yeah. And how has your work changed over time, and what has caused changes? Changes in learning different techniques, obviously, but what else?
Oh, I think possibly as you grow, as you become more mature, you look at things in different ways. And I think it's changed because you want to try things where you change because you want to try different things. And even though I sort of seem to be restricting myself subconsciously to people, and I've actually done quite a few bird things as well, it's being more, exploring them in greater depth, and perhaps becoming more abstract about everything.
Okay. And what are your plans after this then? It's a strange period of time, isn't it? And you've got to work differently perhaps to what you've done before, but what are you thinking of next? What will you do next?
Well, I'm really looking forward to coming back to the Slaughterhaus to do some printing. I might have sort of a stockpile of ideas to try on the stones. So
yeah.
I have to book my place early to get in there.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that next year, if things are okay and the theatres are open, then my postponed exhibitions will be coming up next year. And particularly the local one, the Mistaka one, I'll be building up. Perhaps I'll be doing some of these at a larger scale, ready for next year, ready to go in that exhibition.
Yeah,
it's quite nice to see. Obviously, with the lack of theatre at the moment, it's quite nice to those kind of images to still be carrying on. So it would be great to see just like a whole continuation of those things, and larger ones definitely, but just so that the show will carry on, kind of thing.
Well, I think this is just it's wishful thinking, isn't it? If I do enough pictures of theatres, then it's going to happen.
It's an interesting thought, though, isn't it? Sort of that idea of just showing what we're missing is a nice thought, Claire. Yeah.
Well, there's so much kind of well, in the one that we look at, the chorus stage left, there's so much kind of activity in it, and just kind of movement and kind of dance. I can hear my own voice as well. That's really nice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes, keep supporting your local theatres.
So, Grania, you're a big bird exponent. What did you think of those? I liked those.
I liked the movement and the vitality. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of emotion in those drawings of the birds, I thought.
In my birds.
Yeah. I like that one a lot.
Very theatrical. Yeah. Yeah, but
I was quite interested when you said that the work was generally quite happy. I find your the portraits and the heads, I find them really quite dark. I remember when you were doing them in Ellie's workshop. I thought that, and I think these birds are as well, aren't they? There's something in there, and your figures are sort of very the life drawing figures. They're very sort of very expressive, but with a sort of some sort of I don't know, they're they feel quite dark to me, some of them. Quite interesting.
When you say when you say dark, so for me the dark is, you can have benign dark, or you could have really terrifying dark, and I think that as a group the birds are they might be sad and wistful and slightly wounded and apologetic, but somehow individualistic, sort of enchanting, and in a very, very different side, I think, of Helen as compared, going back to these portraits which are really extraordinarily passionate and anguished at times, I think. So there's a huge range. And then on the other hand, there's this I think, emerging greater confidence in the use of colour. So that the one with the chorus, for instance, it reminded me very much of Delaunay meets Woman Descending a Stair or something, the whole art history thing.
Oh, that sounds a bit of a muddle.
Sorry, I am muddled. So true, Helen. Sorry. Sort of movement. Yeah.
It's so nice to have you showing the work, Helen, because you've been into the studio to do the stone lithography, but I know some of our members don't know your work, so it's a really nice opportunity to see it. And I wasn't familiar with a lot of it either, so it's very nice to see the work. Yeah, does anybody?
Sorry, I have to play lockdown for that. I can't get down there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it seems like you've done quite a lot.
Well, I like to keep busy.
Mm.
I had a power cut earlier, so I got cut off.
Oh, right. Was that?
Well, no, the laptop ran out of
I
power.
missed you.
Okay.
But no, it's okay. So I missed a bit, so I'm just interjecting. But what I like is the way you use the textures of the different print, you know, in different instances. Like the Priory, you couldn't really, you know, that etching of the Priory was really good, I thought.
Oh, where's that one?
That was right at the beginning.
Oh,
Really.
that's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, you know, it's a ruin.
It is, yeah. You can tell it's a ruin.
No, not the print. The Priory is the ruin. Yeah, you know. And then you got the other textures of other things. Kind of more raw, you know, a ruin is raw, so that's more raw.
Yeah.
And in terms of like the floodlights and stuff, you've got the different print process lends itself to the subject. Even those, yeah, that was a good one. I like that one. What I like the fact that you cut the figures up, and then look how they come together. It's brilliant. It's like I think that's a good.
I think it's an absolutely fascinating process.
It's great. I love it. Yeah. That one's good. It's good.
Thank you.
I agree with that. I think the way those chopped up shapes become that. I mean that print is again another quite, you know, it's quite sinister, isn't it, in lots of ways. When from those starting points of there's different coloured drawings, I think that print works really well.
Well, on life drawing, I do sometimes just colour. I just use colours for the models, and then I also like recycling. So these are all pretty gash drawings, but chop them up, they can become something else.
I like the method.
Yeah, but most people wouldn't have the nerve to cut up a light, you know, precious drawing. So it's interesting.
That's probably because I do quite a lot of them. Some I like to keep, but otherwise I've got a lot that deserve cutting up.
Yeah, great. You definitely need to do some more life though. And I'm not just saying that, you know, for business, but yeah, it'd be really nice to see some more happening.
It would be lovely. I would like to try doing some colour on them as well. I think that's a different process. I mean, another process on top of the stone.
Sure.
Oh, someday soon.
Lovely. Thank you.